Well, we're back to the land down under, where women glow and men plunder. I promise that's the only time in this series I'll be quoting men at work. And a band with that name wouldn't really fit here anyway, because our animal of the week is famous for being laid back and a vacation staple. Today, we speak of the quokka, not to be confused with the quagga. This is another animal made famous by the internet, but definitely hit the mainstream earlier than our previous subject. However, there's probably a lot you didn't know about this jolly little joey. Like, for instance, did you know they're in the same family as the wallaby and the kangaroo? Seems obvious now, but in my defense, I've never seen a picture of this thing that doesn't just look like a generic stuffed animal. But I guess that does make sense as to how it became so popular. And before we get into that, though, let's get into their lineage. Starting from the top, as a marsupial, they can date back their ancestry to over 125 to 160 million years ago. But that is way too long for me to get into, so we'll start with 25 to 30 million years ago, where the family of macropods first evolved in Australia. At this point, they were small arboreal animals, somewhat akin to the tree kangaroos of today, but they would quickly find their way onto the ground, becoming the little hoppers we know today. Now, exact deviation is a little hard to pin down, but small kangaroo-like fossils were thought to be related to the quokka that date back as far as 18 million years ago. Today, their closest living relative is the rock wallaby, but unlike their cousins, they still keep a slight affinity for climbing, as they have been known to climb about 5 feet high into trees. Now, when it comes to their influence and culture, they've been well known since humans first reached their native area of the southern western corner of Western Australia state. The local Noongar people are the originators of the name, as they called it the Quagga. The Noongar people of the area also saw the little ball of joy as a sacred animal, and specifically the Wajuk Noongar would perform ceremonies on the Bald and Rottnest Island due to their abundance. Speaking of Rottnest, this is probably the most famous area the animal is known from, and it's probably due to the island actually being named after them. In 1650, when the Dutch came across this area of Australia, they saw the quokka all over the island and immediately thought that they were giant rats. Thus, the name Rotsnest, or rat's nest. Now, if these were rats, they would be quite a rodent of unusual size, being the second largest species in the world at 5.5 pounds and 16 to 21 inches long. Now, in modern day, they have been named the happiest animal in the world, and understandably so, because look at this thing. It just looks happy as a clam to see you. On top of it consistently having a big ol' smile, the group on Rottnest is famous for not fearing humans due to their isolation. This has led to people rocking up to the animal and just taking selfies with them, and while 99% of the time I would never recommend walking up to a wild animal for a selfie, I'll be damned if I wouldn't also be tempted. Now, mind you, they are still wild animals, and with teeth like that, getting bitten by one of them for pushing your luck is probably going to ruin your whole vacation. Now, unfortunately for them, their time on this world may not be long, as I'm sure you could tell when I show you this picture of their native range. With yet another similarity of last week's video, desertification is a living nightmare for this not rat. The greener areas they reside in also aren't faring too well, as forest fires burn through their last bastion like a literal hell on earth. However, on the upside, if there was any animal humans would pull out all the stops in an attempt to keep alive, it would most likely be the happiest animal on earth. And with all that said and done, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Sorry this one's a little bit shorter, but to be honest, there's not much to go over with the quokka. It lives in a very small area, it's vulnerable, and doesn't really stand out compared to two other animals we will be talking about a little further down the line. So, until next time, go outside, touch grass, hug your loved ones, drink water, and bye-bye.